All right, so we're diving into a pretty interesting game tonight.
Yeah,
The Denver Nuggets are heading over to Portland to take on the Trailblazers.
absolutely.
And this is actually the NBA League Pass game of the day.
Big one.
And it's a big one, and we've got a really good NBA.com preview of this game.
Right.
But we want to go beyond just, your typical game preview.
Sure.
So what we want to do today is really dissect what this game means for the playoff hopes of both these teams.
Yeah, that's huge, especially as we're coming down the last part of the season.
Right.
Every game is big at this point.
Absolutely. And we also want to highlight some of these amazing individual player performances that we've been seeing lately.
You've got stars on both these teams, so
Yeah.
it's going to be fun to watch those guys go head to head.
Absolutely. So we're going to give you some really, really great context.
I think so.
So you can really understand why this game is so important to watch, and you know what to look for.
Totally.
So starting with Denver,
Yeah.
They are currently the 3rd seed in the West
That's right.
at 44-26.
Solid.
But they did just come off a loss against the Lakers.
Yeah, I saw that one.
So
Not a good one.
yeah, not a good look. And they need to maintain their position in the standings because right now, as it stands,
Yeah.
3rd seed, they're probably looking at playing either the Kings or the Mavs in the 2nd round.
Yep.
But if they drop to 4th or 5th, they're probably looking at the Clippers or the Pelicans in the 1st round.
And those are all much tougher.
Scary teams, man.
Yeah. Very, very tough matchups. So a loss tonight to the Blazers could actually drop them down.
Yeah, and that's not what you want, especially this late in the season.
Yeah.
You don't want to be falling down the standings when you're trying to gear up for the playoffs.
No, absolutely not.
You want to be building momentum. You want to be peaking at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a very crucial game for them.
Now for Portland,
Okay.
they are 31-39.
Not as good of a record.
Not as good of a record, no, but they are on a 3-game winning streak,
That's right. Yeah.
which is huge for them at this point in the season.
Huge momentum swing.
Yeah, and they're only 2 games behind the Phoenix Suns.
Wow.
For that 10th seed, which is, what gets you into the play-in. The
Exactly.
play-in tournament.
Yep. SoFi NBA play-in tournament. Can't forget that.
Yes, exactly. So for them, every game is a must-win right now.
Oh, absolutely. They've got to keep this win streak going if they want to have any chance
Right.
of making the playoffs.
And so a win against a really strong Denver team
Yeah.
would be massive.
It would be a statement win for sure.
Absolutely.
It would show the rest of the league that they're serious
Yeah,
about making a run.
absolutely. So this is a really good opportunity for them
It is.
to kind of, send a message.
Yeah. I mean, Denver's a good team.
Yeah.
So if Portland can pull off an upset here, right, it's going to turn some heads.
Absolutely. So their schedule is not looking too good.
No, it's not.
They're currently in a 7-game homestand.
Okay. Which sounds great. Sounds good in theory.
In theory, yes.
But when you look at the opponents,
Right.
it's a different story,
So they have the Nuggets tonight,
right?
and then they have the Boston Celtics, who are the 2nd seed in the East.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they have the Cleveland Cavaliers,
Number 1 in the East.
who are the number 1 seed in the East.
That's a brutal stretch.
Yeah, that's...
Back to back to back.
I know.
That's tough.
That's a really tough schedule.
Yeah.
And then after that, 6 of their last 9 games are against teams that are currently in playoff spots.
Wow. So they're really going to be tested down the stretch here.
Yeah, they definitely are. So this Denver game really is super important for them to try to get a win.
It is. It's going to set the tone for the rest of their homestand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And potentially for their playoff push.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at Denver a little bit. They've
That's-
been having some injury issues lately.
Every team does this time of year. It's
Yeah.
just part of the game. But Denver's got some key guys who are banged up.
Yeah, their biggest concern is Nikola Jokic.
Oh, of course.
The Joker, he's missed the last 2 games.
He's such a unique player.
I know.
It's hard to replace a guy like that.
Yeah.
He does so much for them on both ends of the floor.
Right. He is like the offense.
He's the engine that makes them go.
Right.
So when he's out, it definitely hurts them.
Yeah, absolutely. And in his absence, Aaron Gordon has been stepping up big time.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's been playing the starting center role.
And he's been killing it.
I know. His stats are insane.
Give me those numbers.
Okay, so in these last 2 games without Jokic, he's averaging 32 points,
Wow.
8.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists.
That's incredible.
But he's also shooting 62.2% from the field.
What?
60%. 60% from three-point range
60%.
and 90%
That's unreal.
from the free throw line.
That's like all-star level production
It's
from a guy who's
chaos.
usually a role player.
Yeah.
He's stepping up big time.
He's really showing that he can be a leader on this team.
Absolutely. And it's a good sign for Denver
Yeah.
because it shows that they have some depth.
Right.
And they can still compete even when their best player is out.
Yeah. And it's a big relief, I think, for the Nuggets
Sure.
know that, they can still win games without Jokic.
Yeah. It takes a lot of pressure off of the other guys.
Right. And especially tonight.
Yeah.
We don't know if Jokic is going to be playing.
Hopefully he's back.
Yeah.
But if not, Gordon's shown that he can carry the load.
Right. You know what's really interesting about this?
What's that?
Is that Gordon's three-point shooting has just been phenomenal.
I know, right? 60% from three. That's unheard of.
I know. And so what this does is it opens up the floor for the rest of the team.
Right, because usually Jokic is the one who's initiating the offense from the high post.
Right.
But with Gordon spacing the floor,
Right.
it creates driving lanes for guys like Murray.
Right.
Or whoever else is handling the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a very subtle change, but it makes a huge difference.
It makes them a much more dynamic offense.
Yeah.
When Gordon is hitting those threes.
And now speaking of Jamal Murray,
Oh, yeah.
he has also been dealing with an injury.
Right. Right ankle sprain?
Yeah, he's missed the last couple games.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And so they're missing two of their starters.
Yeah, that's a big blow
Yeah.
for any team.
But thankfully, Russell Westbrook has really been stepping up in Murray's absence.
Mr. Triple-Double.
Yes, he has been putting up consistently good numbers all month long.
What's he averaging?
So in March, he's been averaging 15.3 points,
Okay.
5.7 rebounds,
Solid.
6.9 assists, and 1.5 steals in 33 minutes per game.
Yeah, those are really good numbers.
Yeah, he's been doing a little bit of everything.
He really is. He's filling the stat sheet.
Yeah, and he's also been shooting a lot of threes.
Oh, yeah.
Almost 6 attempts per game.
Wow.
And he's hitting them at a 37.9% clip,
That's not bad.
which is very respectable.
Yeah, he's become a legitimate threat from deep.
Yeah, so teams can't just leave him open anymore.
No, they can't. They have to respect his shot.
And he's also had some big games lately.
Like that triple-double against Golden State?
Yes.
I saw the highlights of that one.
12 points, 12 rebounds, 16 assists.
And 2 blocks and 3 steals.
Yeah, and 2 blocks and 3 steals.
All in 42 minutes.
Yeah, he played 42 minutes in that game.
That's a lot of minutes.
I know, he really stepped up.
He did put the team on his back.
Yeah, and so if Murray is out again tonight,
Right.
Westbrook is going to have to be the primary playmaker for the Nuggets.
Yep, and I think he's up to the challenge.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's shown that he can handle the pressure.
All right, so let's move on to Portland now.
Okay.
And talk about some of their key players.
Sounds good.
So Denayev Dija has really been having a breakout month.
Yeah, he's been making great.
I know in February he averaged 13.9 points per game,
Okay.
which is solid.
Yeah,
But in March,
he's taken it to another level.
I know he's averaging 22.1 points,
Wow.
10.4 rebounds, and 5.4 assists
That's impressive.
in 34.9 minutes per game.
Yeah, he's doing it all.
And he's shooting 49.5% from the field
Okay.
and 47.8% from three-point range.
Wow, those are really good percentages,
Yeah, it's very efficient.
especially for a guy who's scoring that much.
I know. And he's also had some big milestones this month.
Tell me about them.
He's had 3 30-point games,
Wow.
3 double-doubles,
Okay.
and his first career triple-double
Against who?
against the Cavaliers on March 2nd.
Nice.
So he's really been playing at an all-star level.
He's showing everyone what he's capable of.
Yeah, it seems like he's really become a much more confident player.
It does. And it's great to see because he has so much potential.
Right.
He's got all the tools to be a star in this league.
And this is a really good sign for Portland.
For sure.
Because it shows that they have a young player
Right.
who can be a cornerstone of their franchise.
Yeah, they're building something special in Portland.
And it's interesting that his assists have also gone up,
Yeah, that's a good sign.
which suggests that maybe they're running more of their offense through him.
Yeah, they might be using him as a point forward.
Right, and that could really change the way that they play.
It could make them a much more versatile team.
And then we also have Anthony Simons,
Oh yeah, he's been on fire lately.
who has also been on a tear lately.
He's a walking bucket.
Yeah, over his last 10 games, he's averaging 25.1 points.
Wow.
2.7 rebounds,
Okay.
3.3 assists,
Solid.
and 1 steal in 34.5 minutes per game.
Yeah, those are great numbers.
And he's been incredibly consistent.
Like how many 30-point games?
He's had 5 30-point games in those 10 games.
That's amazing.
I know he's been on fire.
He's unstoppable right now.
And what's also really impressive is his free throw shooting.
Oh yeah. He's automatic from the line.
He's 30 for 31
That's
in his
close.
last 10 games from the free throw line.
You want that guy at the line
Yeah.
in a close game?
Absolutely. So this is a great sign for Portland.
For sure.
You know, having these two guys playing at such a high level.
Yeah, they're peaking at the right time.
I
And they're
know.
carrying the team.
Yeah, so this game tonight is going to be really exciting.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to watch it.
Because you have Denver, who is trying to maintain their playoff seeding.
Right.
And they're dealing with some key injuries.
Yep.
But then you have
They're
Portland,
dogs.
who is on a hot streak.
Big time.
And they're trying to make a push for the play-in tournament.
Absolutely.
So the stakes are high for both teams.
Yeah, this is a huge game.
And you know, the thing that's really interesting about this matchup is that you have these kind of contrasting storylines.
What do you mean?
Well, you have Denver, who is trying to stay competitive with some of their best players potentially sidelined.
Right.
And then you have Portland, who is really clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, they've got all their guys healthy.
Right.
And playing well.
And they've got Avdija and Simons, who are both playing some of the best basketball of their careers.
It's a good time to be a Blazers fan.
It is. So this begs the question,
What's that?
could this be a turning point for either team?
Interesting question.
If Portland wins tonight,
Yeah,
does this give them the confidence and the momentum to really make a serious run at the playoffs?
it could.
And if Denver loses,
Hmm.
do they start to panic?
Maybe a little.
Do they start to worry about their playoff seeding?
It's possible.
So this game could have a huge impact on the rest of the season for both teams.
It could. It's a pivotal moment for sure.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see how these individual player performances that we talked about
Right.
actually translate into team success.
Yeah, that's the key.
So keep an eye on how Avdija and Simons play for Portland
Absolutely.
and how Gordon and Westbrook play for Denver.
For sure.
And, you know, if Jokic and Murray are able to play,
Right.
how does that affect the game?
Yeah, that's the big question mark.
Yeah.
If Jokic is back, Denver's a completely different team.
Right. So this is a game that you definitely don't want to miss.
Nope. It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a really good indicator of where these two teams are headed
Absolutely.
as we get closer and closer to the playoffs.
Can't wait to see what happens.
I know, me too.
Tune in, folks.
This has been The Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.